Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. May I have your attention, please? We are just about to start the popular lecture by Dr. Rajeev Nigam. I invite everyone who's outside the hall and who's interested to please come in, take a seat, and close the doors. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pride privilege to introduce my PhD guide and my guru, Dr. Rajeev Nigam, the former Deputy Director of the National Institute of Oceanography, Goa. This man merely requires any introduction. Most of the scientific people sitting here know him and have surely wanted to meet him or have already met him. Dr. Rajeev Nigam has received his Bachelor's and Master's of Science in Geology from Lucknow University, Master of Philosophy, Doctor of Philosophy and Doctor of Science in Geology from the Aligarh Muslim University and NORAD Diploma in Marine Micropaleontology from the Oslo University, Norway. Dr. Rajeev Nigam is the former Deputy Director of the CSIR, National Institute of Oceanography. He has made significant contributions in the field of marine geology, mainly micropaleontology, using Foraminifera as a tool to understand oceanographic processes and their role in environmental and paleo-environmental assessments. Dr. Nigam has worked extensively for the application of a small microfossil group called Foraminifera in the field of marine archaeology, for which we shall know more about in his public lecture now. Dr. Nigam is the recipient of several awards like the CSIR Young Scientist Award, Krishnan Gold Medal, National Mineral Award, M.R. Sahani Lecture, awarded by the Bhalla Gold Medal for his excellence in micropaleontology by the Paleontological Society of India, H.N. Siddiqui Lecture, awarded by the Indian Geophysical Union, etc. Dr. Nigam has guided 15 students successfully for PhD and has published more than 160 research papers in national and international journals. We are proud to announce that he has been the first Indian to be selected for the prestigious Joseph Cushman Award for his outstanding lifetime contribution in the field of foraminiferal research. He shall be formally receiving this award at the Cushman reception at 2022. This reception will be organized by the Geological Society of America at Denver, Colorado in October this year. He has made us Indians proud by bagging this international acclaim and honor. Sir, thank you for bringing back this honor home. Thank you so much. With no further ado, I request Dr. Nigam to take stage. Meanwhile, can I request everyone to please put their mobiles on silent or vibrator mode. Thank you so much.
Hello, check.
अरे नहीं कॉलर माइक नहीं है I want to use the collar mic, otherwise I will not be visible to many people. This podium is very high to my height. A very good evening to all of you. Thank you, Rajni, for very elaborate introduction of mine. I'm sure she has done it out of love for me, being my former student. I have only a one-line introduction. I'm a student of Microfossil, the group called Foraminifera. That's all is my introduction. I will tell you a little bit about the origin, how this title has been decided. When Rajni telephoned me and she says that I wanted to have a lecture of yours here, then I thought, being a Department of Environmental Sciences as an organizer, I should talk on the pollution. But then Rajni says, no, please you give a lecture on the archaeology. And I was a bit reluctant. I'm afraid my friends, I apologize to them, because many of them has heard this lecture before, and you will be surprised to know that during the lockdown time in 2 years, this is the 35th time I'm going to deliver this lecture. And still people want to listen this lecture. That shows that how much we are keen to know about the cultural heritage of our country. And then I thought, and I agreed with Rajni, what could be any site better than Pune to deliver this lecture? Any lecture on cultural heritage can be given to any other place other than the cultural capital of the country, Oxford of the East, the Pune and the Pune University. Then I thought this is the best place to deliver this lecture. And therefore, I am here. Those who have heard it before, you can hear it once more. Okay. Now, actually the lecture in its present form, it's thanks to the corona. Because when the lockdown started, Government of India, particularly the Doordarshan, they decided to recast the Ramayana and Mahabharata. And those who are little older generation of mine, they knew that how popular these serials were there when first time they have been broadcast. But when again the broadcast started, again this both the serials became very, very popular. But since now the social media is very powerful now, once this recasting of both the serials started, the criticism also started. Arey bhai, this is all kalpanik, this is all imaginary things. Why Government of India wants to promote this type of thing? So then I thought, being a scientist, let us see whether really this both the things are imaginary, it's a figure of imagination, or there is any reality behind it. Those who are supporting that they are reality, they are coming from the literary side. And how many people know the Sanskrit verses in this country anymore now? So I thought, let us see, is there any scientific basis for these events about Mahabharata and Ramayana? So that's why this title says that Dwarka, Ram's Dwarka, which is associated with Lord Krishna, then Ram Setu, which is associated with the Lord Ram. Mahabalipuram is a famous temple in Tamil Nadu. And if you see just below it, the fascinating truth about the ancient coastal towns. I will tell you, not only Dwarka and Ram Setu, we are very fortunate and we have a very long cultural history, and we should be very proud of it. And I think after lecture you will agree with me, we must be very proud of our long cultural heritage. I am going to talk to you under the other coastal town is the Lothal, which is in Gujarat. I am going to talk to about the Dholavira, which has been declared as a recently as a World Cultural Heritage. I am going again to talk about off Surat, an unknown town, because nobody knows the name of the town, but there is a town which is submerged into the sea, and considered to be the oldest town, and India Today brought out a special issue. But so let us see. I will take you to the journey, and being a oceanographer, I would like to restrict myself to the cultural places where sea has played a dominant role about their flourishing or their survival or their decline in all the cases. Next one. Oh, no, just a minute. When we started looking after the cultural affair about archaeology, I don't know, somehow in our countries became fashionable to talk against our cultural heritage. Instead of being very proud of our rich cultural heritage, sometimes you may be seen that we become very apologetic about it. No, the study of archaeology is very important, because the one who is very proud of his or her cultural heritage always work hard to maintain the high level of civilization and tries to enhance the living standard of the fellow citizen. Where you try to work hard because you want to protect the honor of yourself. My father was so and so, my grandfather was so and so, my great grandfather. So here is the country. We must be proud of the country only when we are very proud of its cultural heritage. But how little we know about cultural heritage. That's very pitiable condition. We should be rather ashamed of it. We know very little about our country. Very little. How many of you know where is the world's, I'm not telling the temple, the biggest religious structure on earth? You can see the spread of our culture. That was in Angkor Wat in Cambodia. Far off in Cambodia, you have a biggest temple, a biggest religious structure. The Indian businessman contributed a lot to build a temple at Lebanon, the Baalbek temples. Okay. How many of us were aware of the Ranichi, of the Queen Sister well before it came on the 100 rupees note? See here. Of course, Gandhiji we all know, but very few people, and hats off to the government. Now they are bringing all this cultural heritage on our currency one after the other. Is the archaeology, or you know what is the relationship between mythology, history and archaeology? Mythology is something we might have heard somewhere. Whether it's real or not, we don't know. It may be it must be imagination by someone. History is the written record about the mankind. What type of kingdom, who was the king and all those things, if a written record is available. But beyond the written record, that comes under the archaeology. Sometimes we use, but their dividing line is very thin. So sometimes, even in my title also, we said mythology or history. So actually it is not history, actually it is archaeology. But sometimes people say, everybody in this world looking after the money, people are looking forward where you get an economic gain. Okay, look forward. Why you people are looking backward? I need not turn to my geological community or paleontological community why we are looking back. But looking back is important to get an idea about the future, but at the same time, the archaeology is not only a cultural background to be very proud of it, it's a hard economics as well. Because tourism is a big industry now. Many people are surviving on the tourism itself. But when it comes to India, what we are promoting in the name of tourism? I just picked up some data from internet. Normally I don't want to put anything from the internet, but here I use this data. The top revenue generating monuments Taj Mahal, Agra Fort, Qutub Minar, Fatehpur Sikri, Red Fort. Can you see any similarity between these two? I leave it to you. But see the earning through this, these are the monuments which is earning maximum in our country through tourism. See here. And but these all the monuments, see, I am not diluting their importance. Neither I am against the tourism, why it is very important. But we have things better than this also. But they have not been given their due importance. See here, Mahabalipuram, Konark Sun Temple, Khajuraho Temple, Ellora, Hampi, which is the World Heritage. See the amount here and see the amount there. So there is a need, if we want to increase the international tourism, we have to change this mindset. Let us come out of the Mughal era. You go to Europe, I remember when first time I visited London and took a tourist bus for sightseeing. There was a big commotion in the bus. We are going to see a fort, the London Tower. We are going to see the fort. So I thought I am going to see a very big fort. When I reached there and I have seen, I was simply laughed. So my tourist guide asked, why you are smiling very sarcastically? I said, this is you call fort. हमारे हिंदुस्तान में हो, राजस्थान में गली गली में ऐसे फोर्ट है. But see, because they know how to sell to the tourist their things. You go to Europe, which are the monuments they are showing which is more than 2000 years old? Can you tell me? Many of you must have been abroad. Which monuments is more than 2000 years old? And here we have a series of monuments which is older than 2000 years. During my talk now, I will take up the world's oldest dockyard ever discovered is within our country. Okay. How to prevent yourself from tsunami. The world's oldest evidence is within our country. And forget about foreigners. You will tell to foreigners when you know about it. How many of you have heard this word Lothal? Can you tell me how many of you have heard Lothal? See here, not more than about 15 to 20%. How many of you know Dholavira? Dholavira, because recently it has been declared as a word. But what for you know Dholavira is famous? Can anybody tell me? See, till today, nobody knows that the Dholavira possesses the world's oldest evidence about tsunami protection measures. Okay. Ram Setu, such a wonderful things, and we ourselves are downgrading it. नहीं यार, वो तो ऐसे ही है, काल्पनिक है. राम तो थे ही नहीं. Anyway, I am not going towards religious side. Let us see what science says about it. But things are changing. Last year in budget, the finance minister, Nirmala Sitharaman, has said government is going to give a lot of importance to, on priority basis, to the Rakhi Gadi, Dholavira and Lothal. Now Rakhi Gadi is here in Haryana, Lothal is near Ahmedabad, and Dholavira also in the Kutch area. I will not talk about Rakhi Gadi, but I can tell you the wonderful work on Rakhi Gadi has been done by a person from Pune, Vasant Shindeji. Sometime you can listen to him. Okay, but being a oceanographer, this budget speech has given me a ringing bell in my ear when I heard the name Dholavira and Lothal, because at both the places we scientists at National Institute of Oceanography has worked. When Dr. Rajni Panchang was introducing me, she told that I'm a student of geology and paleontology. So what a geologist is doing in a marine archaeology? It's a question first I asked to me, I would like to tell you how I came into archaeology. See here, the unique contribution of the marine sediment has been for the deciphering the changes in ocean condition due to climatic variation in the past. This is what this conference is. We are trying to reconstruct the past. Actually, we were doing it to assess the impact of anthropogenic changes. We generated the data for sea level changes, for monsoon rainfall, for past tsunamis, so on, so that the man's influence can be easily associated. So basic in one word is we reconstructing the past using the marine fossils into the marine sediments. At the same time, the archaeology, as defined by a professor of the University of Cambridge, archaeology may be subtly defined as the systematic study of antiquities as a means of the reconstructing past. So when two branches of science, they are reconstructed, their objective is same, there has to be some parallel, there has to be some correlation, and therefore I also started looking my data towards the archaeology, whether it's have any application in the field of archaeology. See, archaeologists are using some of the artifacts like well, anchors, coins. These are their tools, potteries. And as a scientist, we are using our board, it's a geophysical equipment and microfossils. But we owe all this research, what I am going to tell you, to a great, great man, Dr. Asar Rao, who is considered to be the father of marine archaeology, who has been credited for bringing out the submerged Dwarka to everybody's notice. My hats off, and please give a big hand to Dr. Asar Rao. And Dr. Asar Rao is a very classical example for one more thing. Some of my friends who are sitting in the front rows, see, people think that at 60 you retire. Either they themselves think now they have done everything, they need not do anything more other than watching the TV. Or others think, hey, they became 60, why still they are interested? They should sit at home. Asar Rao is retired. He was in Archaeological Survey of India. He retired from Archaeological Survey, and then he came to NIO and requested then director, who happened to be a Muslim, that he want to start the marine archaeology. Why he selected NIO? Because Dr. Asar Rao was also credited with the discovery of Lothal, which I am going to tell you now. Because he discovered Lothal way back in 1954, and he says that it was the Dockyard, oldest dockyard which he discovered, which became a little controversy. I will tell you a little later. He wanted to prove that. When he came to NIO, actually Dwarka was not in his mind. Or maybe it was in mind, but he started somewhere else. So he came, and then the director has given him a place. Now many of the organizations, they don't welcome their retired scientist. But NIO was great, then directors were great, Dr. Qasim, who allowed Dr. Asar Rao to be in NIO, and then and asked us to cooperate with him. He actually started his work using geology and geophysics. Actually, he came to NIO because in NIO, any branch of science which is applicable in ocean is below one roof is the place called NIO. So when he came there, he was geologists, geophysics, chemists, biologists, ocean engineers, surveyors, technical staff, everybody was there. So he started his work in 1981 with the 20,000 rupees grant from the INSA. Okay, and we were out of our interest, we started cooperating, and his work later on Dwarka became so well known wherever anybody from NI was going to deliver a lecture, people were asking, are you also involved in Dwarka work? Or are you involved in Antarctica work? As NI was doing only these two work. People's interest in knowing cultural heritage is tremendous, I can tell you. So NIO finally established a unit, a small unit in 1991. Some of you can identify who is this gentleman? He delivered a keynote address today. Rajeev Saraswat. Rajeev, where you are sitting? Is there? Okay, thank you. So this is a team of the divers and the marine archaeologists and geologists. So marine archaeology is started by Dr. Asar Rao in NIO. Now, before I go and start telling you about Dwarka, Ramsetu and other thing, what is my tool? How, as a scientist, I can talk about the thing which so far became a domain for the religious people. Okay? Very few scientists actually contributed towards it. So, as a geologist, as a oceanographer, how we reconstruct the past. Few slides I will tell you, please excuse me, those who are not from science background. Say, how to collect a sample which will help you to reconstruct the past climate. For oceanography, you have to have a boat. See, what happened, if this is the ocean and this is the land, the sediment comes two ways into the ocean, either by river or by wind. Along with this sediment, some of the microorganisms, including Foraminifera or what, they also live in the water, and after when they live the balance with the surrounding water and the climate prevailing that time. They incorporate the signature of the prevailing climate into their shell, the test. Okay, so and after their death, so this sediment as well as this fossil, they are getting deposited at the bottom of the sea, layer by layer, year by year, and they can work as the pages of the Earth's history. So what we do, we take our boat, we take a core sample, so we can subsample this core and we can see which layer when it is deposited, we can put a date by radiocarbon dating and we can infer the past climate based on this microfossils. So we can generate when sea level was lower, when sea level was higher. Since the last 2 days you are hearing about monsoon, when monsoon was more, when monsoon was less, when rain was high, low. That's what we geologists keep doing. And this sediment layers, we decode this signature of past climate using the microfossils. This microfossils, you can see these are the ones which live at the bottom of the sea, and this is during the water column. I think Mohan Sonar is here, and Vanjay Warkar is also here. At Colloquium, I presented a paper where I told about commercial application of Foraminifera. Okay. Now this, in China, I worked with this a lady, which is now she's 85-year-old lady, Shui Zhang, and wonderful. The ladies are really doing a good job. See here, she has developed the models of Foraminifera microfossils into granite. And based on that, she developed a park which is inaugurated by the President of China. She calls this microorganism the giant of the sea. They are less than a millimeter in size. They are extremely sensitive to the climate change. Any slight change in the climate brings a lot of changes into the composition. We have identified more than 2,000 species from our water, from Indian water. Rajini Panchang, who is the convener, she worked on Myanmar samples. She is the one who identified more than 700 species, the best taxonomists we have in the country today. So, because of its, and they are exclusively marine organisms. This is the thing which you should keep in mind. The Foraminifera, this name of these microfossils, less than a millimeter in size, widely available, they are exclusively marine organisms. And to my young friends, I can tell you, for some of the applications, you don't worry about the name of the species or the species level identification. Let us see how simple presence and absence are going to help. But we developed many of these applications of Foraminifera. The paleoclimate I told you, we are reconstructing the past. Sediment transport. The first day after a presidential address, I talk about their engineering application. When you're laying a pipeline, either to transport the oil from Bombay High to Bombay, or the effluent discharge pipeline in pollution studies, Foraminifera are very useful tool. Petroleum exploration, lot of lectures you have already heard. Monsoon variation, how rainfall, because Indian economically basically depend upon the rainfall. And that's what we all are trying to reconstruct, how monsoon has varied in the past and whether we get any idea about the future. In morning session, Dwarka asked the question. I will tell you, in IITM, I delivered a lecture, I think about in 2002. And there we said that rainfall is going to be good based on the Foraminifera. Tiny organisms, less than a millimeter size organisms, are telling you how you are going to have a rain in Pune. And this is the work we started, qualitative work in way back in 86, 87. I got my first award on that work, and now we are going for quantitative estimation of past rainfall records, which you have seen, that Rajeev has presented it. The fisheries, this is the latest application. Dr. Rupal Dubey, my student, she has developed the idea about Kerala, how fisheries has changed in the past using the microfossils. The commercial application already I told. You can also generate the record for past tsunamis. And the Department of the Environmental Sciences today, I think you need sometime lecture, or Rajni Panchang might have delivered this lecture. Now, Foraminifera are being used extensively in the pollution monitoring, and I can tell you, where the other techniques which is based on the chemistry and biology have a limitation, this microfossils can supersede the applications. So this is the most latest application, and all pollution control board people should include at least one micropaleontologist if they really want to detect there is a pollution or not. But today we are going to talk about these two, sea level changes and the marine archaeology. It is basically the sea level changes which has decided the destiny of many coastal towns, including Ramsetu and the Dwarka. So what about sea level changes? Whether sea level is really changing or whether it is stable. I remember when I was in the school, I was taught in my class 4th or 5th, समुद्र अपनी मर्यादा नहीं तोड़ता. आप लोगों ने भी पढ़ा होगा. सच है क्या? Not only in the school book, recently when Prime Minister Modi has taken the Chinese Prime Minister to the Mahabalipuram, I think next morning he wrote a poem. And in that poem, this is a poem which is written, हे सागर तुम्हें मेरा प्रणाम, शक्ति का अपार भंडार समेटे, असीमित ऊर्जा स्वयं में लपेटे, फिर भी अपनी मर्यादाओं को बांधे, तुम अभी न अपनी सीमाएं लांघे. Literary, this is a wonderful couplet which he has written, but as a geologist, I beg to differ with him. समुद्र ने अपनी मर्यादाएं कभी नहीं रखी. Sea level kept fluctuating in the past. Okay, and not only in the past, It is going to do it in future also. That's what the global warming people say. So let us see what is available about sea level changes. Where are the evidences of sea level fluctuation? How to get an idea about how sea level fluctuated in the past? The evidences are available everywhere. I am starting it with the religious record. This is from the all three major religions on the planet. It is from the Gita, it is from the Quran, and it is also from the Bible. Okay, Dr. Asar Rao gave me from the Gita. Praveen Henrik, who happened to be my student and here, he provided this Bible, and then Quran I knew because I was educated at Aligarh University. The story of Manu or Noah's Ark, almost everyone has been taught about that story. The Hazrat Nuh was building a boat in a desert area and he was ridiculed by the fellow citizens. Look, this man, he is building a boat when there is no water, there is a all around desert area. Probably he has an idea sea level is going to fluctuate. And that time we may need a boat for man and other species to survive. It all happened before Darwin. He wanted the species to survive. As a student of geology, since yesterday you are seeing it, for geology student, it's well known, where the highest mountain of the world stands today, the Himalaya. Those who are not from geology, whether you will believe that once upon a time there was sea. I know in audience there are many non-geologists today. So you will be surprised to know that where the Himalaya stands today, here where the arrow is there, millions of years back, that was the Tethys Sea. Why to go to that level? Even lot of part of the Surat and Bharuch area, it was under sea, so arms are reaching up to Madhya Pradesh. A big part of Tamil Nadu once upon a time was under the water. But in order to see what will happen due to global warming, how sea level will go up and down, we were interested to know what happened in last few thousand years, because that will give you an idea how to challenge or how to face the challenge of the future. Now you can see here, these are the sea level changes curve for many areas. And you can see some of the time sea level was higher than today. This is a present day line. Sometimes sea level was lower than today, and sometimes it was higher than today. Whatever Americans or German has done in Pacific and Atlantic or other areas, you cannot in toto apply to our region, because these are the relative sea level changes, which includes a part of the tectonics as well. So each area should develop its own sea level curve, which will help them for many other ways. In India, we wanted to generate the curve. You see here, if you can read it, all the names of foreigners. So there was no sea level curve for the India, and credit should go to this city of Pune, because it was Dr. Rajguru and Kale who has done the first sea level curve for the India. I was expecting Dr. Rajguru, for which we have a very great regards. He sent me a message. He's, I think, more about 85, 90 something. Yeah. But but see, that time, with the available data, some 3 or 4 points they are having, but he dared to say, yes, sea level has fluctuated. But we wanted to update that curve, so even our title we say updated. We want to give him his credit. How to get an idea of how sea level fluctuated? When sea level was higher than today, where you have to look for those evidences? All those evidences, if they are preserved, they are available on the coastal areas. Okay? And when sea level was, let us see first that record. Both the records are from the Goa. You can see a notch here, and you can see a sea cave here. These things are when sea erode the coastal rocks. do it at its level. So you can see sea should have been here and sea should have been here, but sea is somewhere down here. It means they are indicating sea level was higher than today. But when the sea eroded, what it does with the eroded material? It take it and wherever it find a place, it deposit it where we all of you, where you would like to go and enjoy, that is called the beaches. Okay, beaches are product of this erosion. Now, these are the deposition. This is a road which is from the airport to Donapala. You can see the shelly layers. Now, the shelly layers, they tell you, you can date them. You can say sea level was higher than today, but when, you can do the dating here. And this is the concept when sea level was lower than today. This animation, a conceptual model, has been developed by the convener of this conference when she was working with me, Dr. Rajni Panchang. See, if you see the bathymetry, a small hillock is there, and if sea level is here, just imagine. And the indicator, because foraminifera are the best depth indicator as well. Means whatever you are getting at 10 meter, it will be different than what you get at 50 meter. Whatever you get at 50 meter is different than 100 meter. So, if you see the species, you can tell you at what depth it was deposited. Now, if sea level started going up, this species try to migrate as long as they can do it. And the time comes when they cannot keep a rise in the sea level and they became extinct species. Now, you know the depth, at what depth, and if you do the radiocarbon dating. Now, where the dating, whether this will be younger or a bottom one will be the younger. Obviously, these are the younger. So, you can put the date versus time. Simple plot, if you do it, you will get the idea of sea level changes. Actually, the reconstruction of sea level changes is a very complicated phenomena. But here, I am just trying to put it in a very simple form so to get an idea how scientists do this type of work and tell you how sea level has fluctuated. Dr. Praveen Henrik, who happened to be with me as a PhD student, now he is the head of the department in Xavier, Bombay. See, we developed a numerical model, and this is a definition. P is the percentage of planktonic species and D is the depth. So, if you take the core sample with planktonic and benthic ratio, you can get an idea at what depth they were deposited. All this information, whatever was available done by us as well as by many others. The first, we published a series of papers. The first series was published. This is the sea level curve. My co-author also happened to be Dr. Hashmi. And you can see here, this is the present sea level. About 15,000 years back, sea level was 100 meter lower than today. Think of it. Those who have been to the coastal area, Maharashtra is a coastal state. If you today's level, you go on removing the water till you reach to the 100 meter depth. 15,000 years back, sea was there, not where it is today. Miles and miles together was the land. After that, sea level started going up. It comes stable for some time, then rose very fast, then again gone fast. And around 7,000 years, it has crossed the present sea level, gone above the present sea level. Again, around 3,500 years back, it came down. Again, around 2,000 years, it has gone up. So it means it has shown it first thing what we were told in the school कि समुद्र अपनी मर्यादा नहीं तोड़ता, नहीं भाई ये सच नहीं है. समुद्र ने अपनी मर्यादाएं अभी पिछले कुछ हजार साल पहले तक भी तोड़ी हैं. ओके और तोड़ने के बाद 15,000 साल पहले ये हालत थी। और इसके बाद क्या होने वाला है, दैट इज अ सेपरेट टॉपिक, सम अदर टाइम आई विल टॉक टू यू हाउ सी लेवल इज गोइंग टू फ्लक्चुएट इन द नियर फ्यूचर. So remember this curve, and I'll tell you, all of you, if anybody is having any doubt or any clarification, you can stop me in between, raise your hand and ask your question. Okay, or you keep your question till last and then you can ask. I love to answer all the questions. Remember this curve because I will be showing like a magic lamp. This C curve is became a, we generated for other purpose. I don't claim I generated it for marine archaeology. I did it for the climate change program, but it became a magic lamp for marine archaeology. Let us see how. The story of marine archaeology in this country. Yes, sir. You are asking something? Okay. The story of this all started with the thing about Lothal. It so happened, we were taught in our school that archaeology actually started from two names, Mohenjo-daro and Harappa. Okay, when a British archaeologist and Dayaram Sahani from India, who was discovered a railway line to be laid down, and then they discovered about Lothal and Mohenjo-daro as an ancient town. After the partition, we lost both the sites to Pakistan. And then there was efforts by the Indian archaeologists to locate the evidences of the ancient civilization within the present territory or present boundary line of India. One such effort was at Lothal. This was done by same man, Dr. Asar Rao, who later discovered Dwarka. I will tell you something about very interesting about Lothal. Lothal is about 12 kilometers away from the sea, few meters above the present sea level. In 1954, this was happening when the year when I was born. I was born in a very typical year when a lot of things were happening in archaeology. See what happened. An entire city, I don't know, I am very fascinated with the archaeologists, how they get an idea that below this mound buried a city. It is their science. If some archaeology people are there, they will answer it better. And if you want to see that, there is a place in Karnataka called Ahule. Okay, Asar Rao has taken me there, and there was a mound which is cut half. Okay, on top you can see still huts and houses are there, and in the section you can see the buried houses. It's a wonderful sight. I request all of you, whenever you get time, please go and see that one. Okay, so here also in see Mohenjo-daro in Sindhi language, its meaning is mound of dead. In Gujarati, Lothal also means mound of dead. Dr. Asar Rao has excavated this Lothal. You can see this is a well they found it. Different type of seals are there. These are the burials, twin burials. Those who are from history, they can answer you better here. This is the wharf. But the most important thing which is here, a tank-like body. You can see here, a tank-like body. This was discovered, and soon after its discovery, people started asking what is the purpose of such a huge tank. See, we interpret the things which are already known to us with that framework. Here also, because in Mohenjo-daro great bath was discovered, so people try to interpret that way. One group of scientists led by Dr. Asar Rao, he was of the opinion this is a dockyard, bandargah, pattan jise bolte hain, port. It was a dockyard. You can see here, this is the main river, this is the channel, and this is the dockyard. Science, nothing goes without controversy. So when the Rao is of the opinion it is dockyard supported by Leshnik, Fair Service, Shah, that it is a dockyard. Another group led by, again from the city of Pune, by Professor Sankalia, then director of the Deccan College, a great archaeologist of the country. He was of the opinion, no, this has nothing to do with the dockyard, it is a fresh water irrigation tank. And friends, can you believe that this controversy was on for more than 4 decades? Archaeologists were arguing with the archaeologists. Okay, number of papers, conferences, volumes, monographs, whatnot. Those who are from history department, they will agree with me. This was one of the very lively controversy among the archaeologists. And even like many of us, I was not knowing there is something like a Lothal and there is any controversy. I happened to be a physical research laboratory for one conference, and they took me for a sightseeing to the Lothal. And then when they took me, I overheard a discussion among 2 people. Hey, it doesn't look like a dockyard. So other man says that, don't tell it, otherwise Rao will kill you. So I just, because by the time Dr. Rao was already in NIO. So I asked her, what is the problem? You are talking about Asar Rao? Yes, yes. Then he told, and then and there I decided, why this controversy is on for 4 decades? It can be solved in a day. Immediately, but before that, how I will solve it, let us see how they were arguing. See, during the excavation, they got few stones like this, stones with the hole. Now, those who were arguing, it is a dockyard, they were telling these stones were used as an anchor. So, since we are getting the anchor, this is a dockyard. Now, same stone, they say no, this is a stone to lift a counterweight to lift the water for the irrigation. So, this was a dockyard versus irrigation tank. And Martin Wheeler became another supporter of the Professor Sankalia, that yes, it was a. If you remember, I told you about the ecology of Foraminifera. So, what we did, I collected some samples from here, and there was nothing in hand because I have gone there as a tourist. So, I collected the sample, wrapped in a newspaper, used my handkerchief to lift the samples, and I brought, and in my lab I wanted to analyze. See, these were the samples what we collected it, and when Seema Naik was working with me that time, she said, sir, isme to foraminifera milte hain. And I was very excited. I said, look, there may be a contamination because in our lab, all around foraminifera are there. Who knows, in the sieve set, picking a brush, somewhere there may be a contamination, throw away all those things, do it fresh, take out a fresh set and then analyze it. Again we got the foraminifera. Now, I told you friends, when I was telling about foraminifera, they are exclusively marine organisms. When they are present, it cannot be an irrigation tank because nobody irrigates the land with the saline water. Now, this has tilted the argument forever that this was a dockyard, it was not an irrigation tank. Okay, and then it's really become a very big thing because this happened to be a 4,500-year-old oldest dockyard ever discovered in this world. We must be very proud of it that we possess, this happened to be within our world. Okay, but see, these are the forums which I got, but some questions remain to be answered. If it is a dockyard, have you seen any dockyard away 12 kilometers away from the sea and few meters above the present sea level? अरे भाई, पानी का जहाज उड़ा के तो नहीं ले जाओगे ना वहाँ तक, पानी का जहाज जाएगा कैसे? 2 ही तरीके हो सकते थे उसमें कि sea level must be touching it some upon a time, and after that when sea level has gone down, probably it's got cut off. So what was the position of sea level that time? Remember the time, 4,500 years. See here. This is the curve I told you just now. 4,500 years back, sea level was higher than today. So this supports, yes, it was possible to have a dockyard at this given time, at this given location. So this once for all settled the controversy. Only one thing is remained to be told. What was the connection with the sea? Okay, sea level was higher, but how it was connected? That work again came from this city. The Pune is a very, very important city, and its contribution to micropaleontology and that archaeology is tremendous. कांतिमती जी, आपके इंस्टीट्यूट से काम हुआ था. Aniruddha has published a paper which says that through remote sensing, he has shown the connection. The Lothal is here, and this is the river channel, and this is the main river. So with this river, through high tidal range, about which we all know in Gujarat, this was connected to the sea. So this is the first thing, organisms which is less than a millimeter in size, giving you an opportunity to be proud of your cultural heritage. World's oldest dockyard is within our limit. With this, I will go to the second one. It's Dwarka. Moment you tell Dwarka or Mathura, immediately the Lord Krishna comes to our mind. Okay. He is the most popular god in this world. Okay, we all have to, because कहते हैं कृष्ण पूर्ण अवतार थे. राम मर्यादा पुरुषोत्तम थे, लेकिन कृष्ण पूर्ण अवतार थे. कृष्ण के चरित्र में आपको बहुत वेरिएशन दिखता है. समय के हिसाब से जीवन कैसे बदलता है और सच और झूठ का फैसला, न्याय का फैसला कैसे होता है, ये अगर देखना है तो लॉर्ड कृष्ण के जीवन देखना चाहिए. So this is a temple of Dwarkadish temple, and in Mahabharata, it is told that city of Dwarka was built by Lord Krishna, which is engulfed by the sea. And for that, many people don't believe it. Okay, because anything which have a connection with the old Indian culture, there is a group which always say it is not correct. There is no scientific proof. Today, I am presenting the scientific proof to them. Okay, let them decide, let them challenge me that I am wrong. See how it is started. Those who have how many of you visited Dwarkadish temple? Very few. Okay, those who are and you also must not have seen this one. It so happened when Dr. Asar Rao was in Archaeological Survey of India, he got an idea to excavate the area just outside the temple where now the police chowki is there. A panchayat ghar was there. You can see the still remnant of panchayat ghar. This is the one, modern structure. He got, with the help government, removed the panchayat ghar, started excavating, and then he discovered a remnant of an ancient temple below that. Wonderful research. Again, I will tell you, I get mesmerized when I see their findings. Can you think of it, below this building some temple is there? But archaeologists can tell you. Okay, so here, but with this discovery, he found that like that there are 6 remnants of the temple. It means temple keep destroying and were kept being reconstructed by the people. Then he thought, it is mentioned into the Mahabharata that original Krishna's Dwarka was engulfed by the sea. Why not check it? And then he started that project in Anao. Actually, he started the marine archaeology work from Pompahar. Pompahar I am not touching today. But later his interest shifted to the Dwarka, and he got a good support from all of us as well as the government, but not much. So he started surveying into the offshore area. Is there any evidence of submerged Dwarka about which it is mentioned in Mahabharata? See, here are few photographs I kept it. We did about 20 years we did work in this area, Dwarka area. Okay. You can see these are the divers and these are the stones. These are the evidence of an ancient town, which is few kilometers away from the sea and about 6 to 8 meter water depth. We use the geophysical equipment first to see, we use a lot of geophysical equipment. We use the seismic records, use the side scan sonars, echo sounders, the airlifting. We got the seal of Dwarka time also. So, you can see this is giving a remnant of an ancient town. Okay. One more thing I want to tell you, lot of you may be getting a lot of videos which is showing like a full structure of a temple into the sea, as some palace is there or even if it is following a big pillars. Please don't believe those videos, they are all doctored videos. It is not possible, it is not correct. What we get is only evidence of the basements of an ancient town, the stone structures. See, think of it, what you see in Mohenjo-daro, what you see in Harappa, what you see in Lothal, anywhere you are seeing the palaces. And what people were expecting, they will go into the sea and walk into Krishna's bedroom. No, this is Dr. Rao got it, the dates, 3,500 years back. A city which is submerged into the sea for 3,500 years, you want to walk into his bedroom, it's not possible. What is there is just this discovery has proved that of the Samudra Narayan temple in Dwarka, there is evidence of ancient city which is now submerged into the water. What is the timing? Whether it is Krishna's Dwarka or what is the timing of it? See, it is written in Mahabharata, or Krishna built the city of Dwarka on reclaimed land. When you can reclaim the land? When sea level is going down, leaving behind lot of marshy land like Bombay reclamation, you can reclaim the city and build the city. That's what Lord Krishna has done it 3,500 years back. You see here, after the Lothal, sea level was going down and it came up to 3,500 years back. This is the time when city of Dwarka was built. And when the sea level has again gone up, this became submerged into the water. Recently, our videos came on the BBC, just I think about a month back. This was a BBC. And then this is another video by Unbound India. See, when one thing is very good, anything related to Indian culture, if you want to talk, even people started giving some other arguments how it is not possible. Okay. So, there are 3 explanations giving for the Dwarka. They said, no, this is nothing to do with the sea level. I said, then what happened? They said, no, maybe because of erosion. See, erosion is if sea is coming and eroding it. If you erode here, what will happen? Whatever lying here, it will fall here. But it will go into the water. Erosion can only destroy, but erosion cannot submerge anything. Okay, so I say it is not possible. Second argument, they say, no. Somebody from Delhi, they sent me a shloka which says, no, a big wave came and because of that some destruction happened. So, you say, no, it's not Krishna's Dwarka, it is not submerged, it is a tsunami which has done it. I said, madam, she is a retired IAS officer. I said, madam, you are giving this argument because you don't know about tsunami. What tsunami does? A very big wave will come. It will take lot of sediment also, lot of water. It will go. Temporarily, it will submerge any area for few hours. After that, that entire water will go back to its original position. So then I asked, madam, this is tsunami. Now you tell me, how by tsunami permanently you can submerge a city? So he said, now it looks to be, it's not tsunami. I said, fine. So it is just, then again I say, it is sea level. Think arguments have not stopped there. Nahi bhai, I don't believe it is Dwarka. I said, what is the problem? हमें habitat के तो कुछ sign मिले नहीं है. This argument came from the archaeology, so I was not knowing. I said, भाई तुम archaeologist हो, मुझे बताओ, तुम्हें कैसा, what evidence you were searching? नहीं, जैसे कि pottery वगैरह. I said, that's now I understand. I said, this pottery is made up of what? By clay. I said, you see the sea level curve when I was preparing. Sea is such a powerful force. It erodes even the coastal rocks and bring it into small pieces of sand. And your clay particle, you want, it should be in the sea and it should remain as a pot for 3,500 years. Can you see the funny arguments? Okay. So I say that no, this is actually, let us believe that. Okay, if still in this audience also, if somebody wants to put a counter argument, it's most welcome. Okay, I don't think that whatever we say should be accepted as such. Science is open to everybody and nothing is bad argument. But so far, whatever argument came, I put it to your scrutiny. Now you decide, don't leave it to me. Whether you agree that it is a ancient city, 3,500, which is submerged into the sea, or you don't agree with it. Tell me. Anybody have any counter argument? This is the time. And this talk is being broadcasted live. If somebody, I tell it, those who are online, they can send this any question to Rajni Panchang and I will love to answer that question. Okay, so we must be very proud. Lord Krishna is not anybody's imagination. He was a historical character. He lived on this land. He built the city of Dwarka, which is later became submerged. So this is another evidence. But I don't stop my argument here only. Recently, I think few months back, a very good excavation has been done at Sinoli. I think some of you might have heard it. Now at Sinoli, this is a chariot and this is a sword like the weapons, and the age is 3,800 years before present, before Dwarka. This is before Dwarka time, very near to the Kurukshetra. Okay. Now, would you like to link it, anybody? See, archaeology and the paleoclimate is a little bit a skill of story building is required. Whether you have seen any sword in Lothal or Harappa or Mohenjo-daro. I think Dr. Rajni told me some of the history department people are here. Whether any of this excavation you have seen any sword? No. What does it say? Society were at ease. They were only doing their, you can say, building a small villages, doing agriculture, and somehow they are surviving and enjoying the life. But with the time, as the agriculture became more common, man has changed his character from a food hunter to the city builder. So when the prosperity comes, you start building the city. So when the city became big, wealth is there, then somebody comes to loot you, to rob you. Then a kingdom has to be there. Okay, there has to be a king. Okay, there has to be a protection, and then the weapons were, you can see it come down to weaponry. See here. So society has changed from that time to, and this is just before the Dwarka. So this is another, I think this is the time archaeologists, history people should start linking these two discoveries. I just gave a hint, this is as a supporting evidence to the ancient Dwarka. Now I will shift now to another very discovery. This is Harappa, this is Mohenjo-daro, and this is Dholavira. Dholavira recently became very popular because it has been declared as World Cultural Heritage tag, because we were making a lot of noise for a couple of years, now we succeeded. This is a remnant of around 5,000 to 6,000 year old town, that is Dholavira. This is a board which till today nobody, Indus script successfully could not be read so far. So this you can see it. This is our team which has worked in the Dholavira area. And it is told that Dholavira was a port town. Okay, 5,000 to 6,000 years back, sea level was again higher than today. So sea was much nearer to the Dholavira, which is not present now. So that is the first thing. Sea was again playing a role into another ancient Indian town. The first time this Dholavira was noticed by Jagatpati Joshi in 67 and 68. Later, R.S. Bish, Parcha ji aapke gaon wale hain abhi. R.S. Bish excavated from 89 to 90 and he has been awarded Padma Shri for this work. Okay. And then we again work it into 2016. Those who know about this area, this figure is a very famous figure. The Dholavira, it is an engineering marvel. It is famous for excellent water conservation system. Okay. This is a plan of the sea, and this is a citadel they call it. Now this is the middle town, this is the lower town, and all along this you can see these are the reservoirs. Two minor rivers, the city is between the two minor rivers. So they have done because this area water is starved area, so whenever rain is there they wanted to store the water. But here, so this was known, and about 20 years back the work was stopped. I will tell you an interesting story. When I wanted to work on Dholavira, I will come a little later why I wanted to dig a trench. So when I approached, Laini bhai, you cannot work. I said, why? He said that who has excavated, his permission is required. So we wrote to Bish Saab से हाँ काम करो हमने no मैं तो retire हो गया मैं permission कैसे दूँगा? So I asked that office, नहीं भाई we are going to make a boundary wall, you collect sample from there. I said, भाई we are a geologist scientist, we want a sample for particular purpose, not anywhere else. नहीं वो active site में permission नहीं मिलती है. अच्छा ऐसे अब बिना परमिशन के कोई आए तो क्या होगा? अगर कोई आए और ट्रेंच खोदने लगे तो क्या होगा? बोले देन वी विल कॉल पुलिस. आई सेड आई विल इन्फॉर्म यू माय ट्रैवल प्रोग्राम, यू बेटर कॉल पुलिस. बोले व्हाट? आई सेड यू कॉल पुलिस, आई एम कमिंग विद द जर्नलिस्ट. ओके, आई विल टेल यू, you people for 20 years neither you are doing any more work and now you are allowing anybody else to do the work. The trick has worked and we got the permission. So this citadel is the area, the VIP area. For any city, the most VIP area. It all around it is, you can see here, 18-meter thick wall. This VIP area has been surrounded by not 18 feet, 18 meter, I think probably more than this width. 18-meter thick wall, and outside wall it is about 5 to 6 meter wall. Now when Dr. Bish came to NIO and delivered a lecture, After that, Shinde Sahab also delivered the lecture. I asked one question, sir, why this 18-meter thick wall has been constructed? Maybe perhaps for the protection. I said, protection against whom? We questioned it, protection against animal. For that even a bamboo fencing will do. Even wall is not required. Then protection against enemy. Remember, we are talking about 5,000 to 6,000 years back. That time, what was the ammunition of your enemy? Stones, bows, arrows. For that, you need a 18-meter thick wall. Even China wall. Even China wall is not that thick. Even Kumbhalgarh, which is second to it, is not that much thick. I put all that. See, all these forts have been built after that the gunpowder has been discovered, when cannons are discovered. So when you have to protect against cannon, you don't build 18-meter. Why 6,000 years somebody has built a 18-meter thick wall? Isn't it? It looks to be very surprising. Professor Valdia, who is a big name in this field, Valdia Sahab has came up probably that earthquake has destroyed this area or something, because one wall is little bit tilted. You can see it is a tilted wall. See, earthquake hits something from the bottom. So if your building will collapse, building will not tilt like this. If this thing is there as a wall, if something comes horizontal, it will tilt. Can you see it? And if you hit from here, it will just collapse. So this is the case here. What we Dr. Subodh Chaturvedy's PhD we have done from the Kutch area, and we reported an ancient tsunami around 8,000 years back in this area. It means this must be done to protect themselves from the tsunami. 8,000, because this is 5,000 to 6,000 years old. So 8,000 years back, people living in this area must be knowing that this is a tsunami prone area. And as a geologist, we know the Makaran coast is only the tsunami prone coast, tsunami prone area. But it's still, see, very simple, if it is a tsunami prone area, you don't construct. But for commercial purpose, this route was so important, they have to build a city, as a port city. But still they want to protect themselves, they built a 18-meter thick wall. And if recently you can see, the tsunami wall built in Japan are brilliant examples. Metro City remained protected by a dike till March 2011 tsunami. The dike was 3 meters thick at the top and 25 meters thick at the base, reaching 7 meters. Japanese has built the wall now. Won't you feel very proud that your ancestors 6,000 years back was knowing that how to protect themselves from the tsunami? And these Westerners tell us we are very backward. We came from Europe and taught you even how to read and write. Here are our evidence for our ancestors that they knew that this is a commercial hub. They have to construct how to protect themselves. So this is nothing but we published this paper also. This is the world's oldest evidence of tsunami protection measures. We must be very proud. Oh, before I say you clap for our ancestors, you have already done it. But we were not, see, the scientists have keep on doing more and never get satisfied for anything. So here also, we thought, okay, they built a wall, but whether they could protect themselves from the tsunami. Okay, so we thought, let us do some survey. So what we did the GPR survey, ground penetrating radar. This radar is a basically civil engineering instrument. If you do a survey, you can see that if any buried structures are there. So, we thought let us do. So, we did in a outer this middle town area here, just adjacent to Citadel. Here we did a survey, GPR survey. Here is Dr. Lawson, who is a very good expert in interpreting the GPR record. Okay. Now, this is the record, wonderful story. See, this is the surface and this is the bottom. About 2.5 to 3 meter thick sediment do not have any layer. Such a thick sediment do not have any layer. Normally, as a geology student, you all know, okay, if you do a section along the river, any river bed, you will get a layering like that, because sediment go depositing year by years for thousands of years. So, they leave a layer. Any sand dunes, if wind has blown something, still you have a layer. The marine sediments, lot of paper today morning has been presented, they also have a layered sediment. First thing, it is a one-time deposit and there is no layering. It means, see, if sand is getting deposited in the river, it will have a layer, but you bring one truck load of sand and dump it somewhere, that also will have layer. No, it will be amorphous type of big sediment layer is there. It means it is one time event. Probably how such a thick sediment can get deposited? There were number of hypotheses were there. So, we wanted to check from where the sediment came. Such a sediment can come two ways. Either river flood brought it, or something came from the seaside. River sediment is very rare, because this is already a water starved area. यहाँ बाढ़ तो आती ही नहीं थी. It was such a water starved area, they have to build a world famous water conservation system. Okay, but still we thought let us do, and this was the trench which I told you a story how I got the permission to do it. So, wherever this is the thick layer of the sediment, here is Dr. Lawson and here is this lady, Dr. Rupal Dubey. She was a PhD student, but this was not her PhD area. She worked on the Kerala, but out of her interest she came for this field work. So, we collected these samples to find out from where the sediment came, and it is to her credit, Dr. Rupal Dubey, that in this sample she noticed that there are foraminifera. Just simple presence and absence, exclusive marine organisms. It means they came from the seaside. It means tsunami still came and destroyed this magnificent city, at least the outer part of the city. Okay. I leave it to those who are youngsters today, please check within the Citadel area whether tsunami has crossed this 18 meter thick, it has crossed 7 meter thick wall. Whether it has crossed 18 meter thick wall, if you do a GPR survey and a foraminifera studies within the Citadel, you will give an answer. But another question lies, a good question is there. Example, see, Krishna's Dwarka was one example for us, the present mankind, never try to encroach the land from the sea. If you do that, you have to, sea has not pardoned even the Lord Krishna. He will not pardon you and me. That is the reason Government of India has framed the rule that is called coastal regulation zone. Means in 500 meter from high tide line has been declared as a no construction zone. Those who are from those who want to build their houses in the coastal areas, please avoid the low-lying areas. All heavy private and public investment should be avoided in the low-lying areas. That is the example from Dwarka. Now, here is another example. If you want to protect your city, don't think only by protecting VIPs. This is sociological importance. and see from the where the story started it, from the 1 millimeter of foraminifera, microorganisms. If you protect only the VIP area, your city will not survive. Dholavirya is a glaring example for that. Okay, you have to protect everybody. Without the lower strata of the society, VIPs alone will not survive. So somebody has to do the survey in this area, the castle area. I leave it as a future archaeology work. This is another very important discovery. The National Institute of Ocean Technology in Chennai, they were doing a survey for something like, I think, some Kalpvruksh project or something like that. They were doing a survey. It's a chance discovery. At 30 to 40 meter water depth of Surat area, they found the evidences of an ancient town. Okay, and it was here. It is Surat here, and that time India Today brought out a special issue, telling that we discovered the world's oldest city. But in science, nothing goes without controversies. After some time, because then Minister for Science and Technology, Dr. Murli Manohar Joshi, along with Dr. Harsh Gupta, who was the Secretary of Ministry of Earth Sciences that time, they done a press conference on it. But in press conference, there was a problem. They are having a difficulty to explain it. How a city can be at 30 to 40 meter water depth? They tried to explain it with the earthquake, because he is an earthquake expert. People were not convinced, and Outlook Express brought out another issue. They tell a hoax. सब झूठ है, कुछ नहीं हुआ. And it so happened that Dr. Harsh Gupta happened to be the chairman of our research council, and I was presenting like a small scientist. No, sir, I have done this in last 2 years. So he has seen the sea level curve. I said, Rajeev, why can't you write another paper? So we wrote another paper, see here. People were surprised how a city can be there at 30 to 40 meter water depth. The dating was done 9.5 thousand years back. You can see here, 9.5 thousand years back, water depth was 30 to 40 meters. Means whatever river, other things which are joining here now, that time this was all land and they were joining at this time. So no one should get surprised to have a city at 30 to 40 meter water depth, 9.5 thousand years back. And friends, nobody knows the name of the city, because no scientist can tell there is a buried city. But what is the name of that city? You have to derive that information from the literary references. There is no literary references about 9.5 thousand years back. But one thing is there. Once you think that India Today, what is written here, we found the evidences of the world's older urban civilization evidences, that too within our area. So no one should get surprised, and rather you should be very proud how old is the Indian cultural heritage. So this is another evidence. And now, so far I was talking about the Arabian seaside. Now the other side of it, the Mahabalipuram. How many of you have seen Mahabalipuram? In what condition the temple is now? Anyone? Any geology student? Anybody will tell me what are the rock type by which it is made? Charnockite. Charnockite is a susceptible rock to erosion. It's badly pitted. If you go to, so I asked my friends in history and archaeology, how old it is? They say, yeah, it's about 1,000 years. I say, if it is a 1,000-year-old temple, so what is great in it? There are so many temples in India, this is 1,000 years. Something happened during tsunami. How many of you have seen this one? You have seen Selvakuppam. I think our Hema also has done some work in this area. See what happened when tsunami came, the very ill-famed 2004 tsunami. It has, see, this was all buried. there was a beach here. Tsunami has eroded this sediment, and this is eroded, and then archaeological people, they have excavated this area and they found the remnant of an ancient town. Now, this walls you can see just like a Dhaulavira wall, double wall filled with the rubble to make it a thick wall. And this stones which is made, it is of the laterite. Laterite is a very resistant rock, but it is not available in the local area. It means this 1000 story is not correct. In this area, that is a big temple town where they use the laterite borrowed from somewhere for long ranging one. It must have destroyed by something, it became buried here, and the temple which is present now, which we all are going and seeing, is built only 1000 years back. So, how I am telling you, it is a temple complex. There is a reason for that. See here again, I use the GPR studies. See, Selvakuppam is north of the main temple of Mahabalipuram. We did the survey towards south of it. I said, if north of it something is buried, now came to the existence, let us check this side. This is the place where they are selling that the artificial ornaments made up of the shells and all. Many of those who have visited Chennai must have seen this area also. Now, this GPR records tell me that there is something buried into the this sediment. Below the beach, there is again some structures are there, and it is for the Government of India and Archaeological Survey of India to do the excavation in this area. A big discovery in waiting. So, we thought that if Mahabalipuram, this site is an ancient site, north of it something buried into the sand, south we get the evidence now which is buried into the sand. Let us see the other side of it. So, we did some survey into the offshore area. This is the area. And when we did all the survey, we used geophysical equipment, geology equipment, and couple of years they kept going and doing it. And see here, same about 6 to 8 meter water depth. The underwater exploration of Mahabalipuram. See here, the dressed stone kept in a very systematic manner. जैसे किसी घर की वो नींव हो वहाँ पे, the foundation of this. Whether these two photographs doesn't remind you something? To me, it reminds the Dwarka. See here, this is the Dwarka photo which I showed you in the beginning when I was talking about submerged Dwarka. Now, similar type of structures you see of Mahabalipuram. I call it is going to be the Dwarka of south. If a proper excavation has been done, a proper survey has been done, like we got a Dwarka discovery, we are going to have another discovery of Mahabalipuram. The present town is a younger temple which is built over the base of a very big temple town, part of which is buried into the sea as well as into the beaches. So, a big discovery in waiting at Mahabalipuram. Now, I come to the last topic of today's talk. Okay. Now, it means those who are telling me that Mahabalipuram may be around 1000 years back, now the date must go equivalent to Dwarka, which means something around 3500 years back. This need a revision. Those who are from Tamil Nadu, I think they should work hard. I remember I was in Chennai after doing this survey, and we call a press conference, and my colleagues, they were very scared of it. नहीं यार अभी तो काम कर रहे हैं, अभी से कैसे बोल रहे हैं? So let us see. So we did it was covered, 7 pagoda story, which was very famous. It covered by media. If you go to internet, you will get all those details. And afterward, there was a parliamentary question, and I was expecting that question. what is this, what you found? I said, we are only indicating with the preliminary survey. We don't have money to do any work further. Give us money, we'll do it further. Now, I am retired, but it's a good scope for all of you to join us and do a further survey in Mahabalipuram area. You will be very, like Asar Rao, you will be very famous to discover the submerged Mahabalipuram evidences. Now, this is another thing. The two figures we Indians bow our head, Maryada Purushottam Ram and Bhagwan Shri Krishna. I told you about evidences for Lord Shri Krishna's Dwarka. Now, let us come to the another controversy about Ram Setu. I remember when there was a time when the Setu Samudram project was started, and there was a lot of opposition, since opposition was coming from the religious group. And government, then prevailing government find an excuse. They filled an affidavit into the court. Ram to the ही नहीं, there was Ram is an imaginary figure. Okay, जब बनाने वाला ही नहीं था तो ब्रिज कहाँ से होगा? And everybody very happily accept. Anything goes against the Indian tradition, Indian culture, very easily is accepted with our so-called very liberal people. Okay, I am telling it. I am not a very religious fanatic, but let us see scientifically, is there any evidences of these things or not? If you can't support it, you don't believe it, but at least hard science we should not deny it. So, this is the temple Rameshwaram, and then things became very famous with this NASA figure, which say that there is some evidences of it. Now, that time when I used to get a call from journalist, सर आप कुछ बताएंगे राम सेतु के बारे में? तो हमने कहा नहीं भाई मुझे कुछ नहीं मालूम। नहीं, फिर और कौन बताएगा? हमने मैं ही बताऊंगा, लेकिन उससे पहले आपको बताना पड़ेगा रामचंद्र जी पैदा कब हुए थे। Because unless you tell me the time, how I can tell you where was the sea level and whether it was possible to build a bridge or not? And since nobody was able to tell, so I was very safe. And without the evidences, without the timing, I don't want to go to the press and risk my job. So, but afterwards what happened? See this, our story, our contribution, it came on the Zee TV, it came on the Aaj Tak. It's still available on the YouTube, you can see that one. It so happened that Saroj Bala, she is a retired IRS officer. After retirement, she became interested about scientific dating of Vedic events. She organized a conference which was inaugurated by none other than Dr. Abdul Kalam. And there I also presented this paper and she also presented that paper. What these people have done, they noted down the position of stars at the time of Rama's birth and the various events into the Rama's thing. And the stars combination, it comes once in a very blue moon. So, if you can put that together, and this position of stars, they fed into the planetarium software and then recalculated when was the combination of that star, and according to them, the timing was, where it is written, it was 5,100 year BC. It means more than 7,000 years back. Now, this is not done by me, this is done by a group in Delhi, Pushkar Bhatnagar, Saroj Bala, Kulbhushan. These are the people, and it is it's published record. Now, we come and play our role. Is it possible that time to cross over to Sri Lanka? See, whether Rama has crossed or Krishna has crossed or Mohan has crossed, as a scientist I cannot say, but whether it was possible to connect India and Sri Lanka, definitely we can answer. See, this is another curve, Now, you see the sea level curve, I was telling you it's a magic lamp. See here, this timing you see, 5,100 BC, it means about 7,000 years back, sea level was about 2 to 3 meter lower than today. Now, if you see the bathymetry between India and Sri Lanka is 3 meter. It means if you that time when sea level was lower, some small ditches may be available, very shallow water area, on which by putting it stones and trees and what not, you can cross over. This word is very confusing when you call Adam's bridge or you call it Ram Setu. What comes to your mind? Something like a flyover which daily we are seeing it coming to this conference from our guest houses. Bridge, Adam's bridge and Ram or Setu. In Lucknow people know the Hanuman Setu. No, Rama has not built any overhead flyover. In Sanskrit what we call it? I think you can tell me. Setu Bandhu Rameshwar. Setu Bandh. It is the bandh. It is the causeway. Okay? Like in villages when water level is less, you put some stones and you cross over. So, 7,100 years before present of Rama, when Rama came to this area. Okay, it was very shallow sea. He knew it probably, or the Samudra Dev came, as what the story says, so that you put it and you created a causeway. Okay, so they have crossed over, and after 7,000 years, when sea level has gone up, the Ram Setu became under the water. Again I say that this is the wonderful evidence that the story of building a bridge and crossing over to Sri Lanka is not a fig of imagination as once upon a time thought about it. It is possible to cross India and Sri Lanka at this given time. Now, I have seen some of the videos where somebody says that no, it is not 7,000 years, it is about 12,000 years back, the Rama's time. Now, you see that 12,000 years sea level was here. Nobody in the world can construct a bridge. Okay? And after that, if you lower this one, there is no need to make a bridge because India and Sri Lanka are already connected. So because sea has gone down so much, India and Sri Lanka are a connected one. It became underwater something around 7,000 years back only. So that time very little water was there, and after that it became more. So neither the story of Krishna is imagination, neither the story of Ram is imagination. Let us assume now, let us be very proud of it, that Indian cultural heritage goes far older than what people thought about it. These are the scientific evidences, and this is my submission towards through the microfossils. Again, I come back to the theme of this conference today. Friends, those who are joining first time, now you are convinced less than a millimeter size animal which you cannot see by naked eye, you need a microscope, can tell you what happened in your country thousands of years before. Okay. This opened another job venue for micropaleontologists. I remember when 2004 tsunami came, we Indians are very fond of foreigners. Okay. Anybody who comes from abroad, even if he happen to be the Indian, is a demigod for us. Okay. So this is our job to accept them. So when Indian tsunami came, Tad Murthy was invited by the INSA. And two things I will tell you. I agree with first, he says that if you want to see about tsunami reconstruction and prediction, if I can get another birth, I would like to become a micropaleontologist. So such a statement from a foreign expert is showing the importance of micropaleontology. The second statement, what he told, another tsunami is likely to, he told in 2005, another tsunami is likely to hit this year, the Bombay. Have you heard any tsunami hit Bombay? No. It means it's not necessary if somebody comes with a white skin, what they are telling is true. And why he has gone wrong? He was based, his data was only for last 100 years. He collected the data of past tsunamis and he applied little statistics. This is the way the Western experts are there. And he predicted that it will come. I will tell you, you have to increase the data length if you want a good prediction, the way we have done it for monsoon. Okay? So, it was my duty to tell that how important is micropaleontology, and through micropaleontology today I made an effort to tell you how we can talk about cultural heritage of our very country, for which we will be proud. But last thing I would like to tell, you all are hearing about the global warming. And one of the severest consequences of global warming is the sea level is likely to go up. Okay? And if sea level go up as predicted by all modelers, you can see here the global warming. This is a newspaper cutting I put it. Vinci under the water, Panjim next. Who knows, many of the present day flourishing towns along our coast, after some 200 years, 300, 500 years, the future marine archaeologists will start feasting on the very lovely town all along the India. Let us take an oath not to contribute towards the carbon dioxide, towards the greenhouse gases, C, not to pollute the environment, and leave this planet for our children in a better condition. Thank you very much. Yes, I was told by Amol, you have to keep the audience up to 7:30. I performed my duty. Now, still some time is there, and either you have to ask question, otherwise I will start asking questions. I can assure you one thing. First thing, not to hesitate, ask any question. No question in any presentation ever is a bad question. Okay, it is audience response to your lecture. Only answer can be good or bad. So you can ask the question. If I can answer, you can say, okay, he has told the truth, otherwise no, he doesn't know anything, he delivered and disappeared. So if any question is there, you are most welcome. Madam, good. It is you telling that Bombay will be at risk. It's not me, because once I landed in severe trouble by crossing my limit. I said many of the towns, it happened in Trichy, you remember? I presented a global warming scenario. Somebody was sitting, some journalist, without understanding properly English. Next day in Indian Express, Chennai edition, big headline was there. Chennai, Bombay, Calcutta will be under the water by 2020. And morning, Kumar, where is Kumar? Kumar was the convener, no, Anura Basu was the convener. I saw that report and I thought I lost my job now. But good Anura Basu, he recorded that presentation. Okay, so immediately he sent a reminder that Dr. Nigam's talk has been recorded. He never said this. That was published on the 5th page, this much. That headline was picked up by all over the country. And it so happened that then Secretary, Dr. Harsh Gupta, in Chennai, he was ragged. Now you are the Secretary of Ocean Development. Your scientists in NI are giving a statement, Chennai will be underwater in 2020. So he said, look, hats off to him, his faith in his scientists. He said, I know the boy, let me go and check with him. then I will answer that question. So he came telephone to my director. Then we have sent the abstract volume, we have sent the photograph, we have sent the clarification sent by the convener, and that's what finally I was able to save my job. So I will not take, but you need not agree. I agree with you. So what you told, now I agree with you. Yes. Yeah. 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 Mic then.
3-meter level was there.
Yeah.
So below, before, just like today's level, and below that there was 3-meter level.
Yeah.
So was the same evidences were being observed nearby Setu, north or south or some other areas, number one. And the second one is, what was the rate behind, rate calculated for the sea level rise? Is there any data on that also? Thank you, sir.
You were from GSI before,
Yes,
before
sir.
joining.
Yeah.
GSI did the survey.
Okay.
Okay, first, what is their report?
It cannot, I might be told it is not published.
Okay. But you can tell here, no? I will tell you, no problem. I can understand the problem. See, I will tell you why to blame GSI, even I did the survey recently. Okay, and I was not a part of it. And that was the reason when I told you about this conference where I presented Ram Setu work. After that, Saroj Bala was asking me to submit that paper. That was the time when NIO as well as Government of India all were of the opinion that there is nothing. I have gone against my organization to deliver that lecture. So when she asked for the paper, I started using all technical name. Madam, abhi time nahi mil raha hai, abhi ye nahi busy hu, because I never wanted to submit that paper. I thought if I submit the paper, who knows, I may lose the job. But she was after all IS officer, no? She recorded and transcription. Those who have a reprint of my thing, you can see on internet, transcripted from his talk. So he used the presentation and she published it. But luckily nothing happened to us. See, their area is a natural. Okay? It's a maybe ancient coral reef area. Okay? Above that, now the level is 3 meter. If you 7,000 years back, you have seen the sea level, irrespective of Ramsey, it came down to 3 meter. So on this natural thing, wherever the small depressions were there filled with water, that definitely Rama's army has done it. Okay, they created a bund. But I ask you one question. Lothal, Dholavira, Submerged City, everything in Gujarat, all important discoveries of archaeology, why it is in Gujarat only? Means only the wise man, they were living in Gujarat. And rest of India, all of us, we were not living anywhere. Do you believe that? If you don't believe, where is the evidence? Whether you have seen, you tell. In Tamil Nadu, some report recently came about the habitation and the archaeology report. What about other areas? Yes.
Can be confirmed by the sea level curve is that it dropped by 3 meters.
Yeah.
Is there any evidence that there was human activity on it? Saying that someone might have done it or it was possible,
Okay.
and saying that someone did it,
Yes.
there is a big difference. So,
How
yes,
to-
it was
okay.
possible.
Yeah.
Is there any survey done to establish that there is a human footprint on that 3 meter level?
Do you think the human footprints will be there?
No, human footprint in the sense, any evidence of human activity putting either a stone there or whatever it may be.
See, I will tell you, recently a video came from America. It was widely circulated, on which Ravi Shankar Prasad commented very happily. Now look, as far as Rajeev Nigam is telling, it's not very important. Americans have told that Ram Setu is existence. Many of you must have seen that video. I saw the video and I was really shocked. They were telling 7,000 years. Okay? The stone which they got is a 7,000 years. After that, Pallav Bagla from NDTV telephoned me. Raji, what is your comment? I said, this is a stupid. That is the only comment I can make. He said, what? I said, why can't you ask them if this sediment is 4,000 year old? If this sediment is 4,000 year old, they are telling there is a stone which is 7,000 year old. And then they are telling the 7,000 is the age of the construction, because they don't want to confront our work. How on this younger sediment, this older sediment came, and how it can be natural? So he started telephoning. They said, no, it was a very preliminary report. For final conclusion, we need to do more survey. But this is actually, they have not done the dating of the sediment, which may be older, which they have not done, but they wanted to have a publicity. But whether a stone came on its own or somebody has put it. See, this question reminded me long back in Thane, we presented a paper about Dwarka, and Dhara Kothari, she was a journalist from the Indian Express. That time I presented a paper on Saraswati, actually. Today I have not included that work. Sir, would you like to say something about Dwarka? I said, no, head of department of marine archaeology is here. You ask. No, they are non-committal. They are not telling anything. So can you tell something? I said, what you want to say? No, your opinion, what is there? I said, look, you have seen the photograph. It gives you idea about a city or not. Yes, I agree with that. It is giving an idea of the city. Okay, if city was there, it means some people must be living. Okay, if some people were living, they must be having a king also. Yes. I said, do you think any scientist can tell the name of that king? I have to draw a conclusion from the Mahabharata or Gita that Krishna was ruling about this time in this area. She said, still it is not very convincing. I said, yes. I said, now you do one thing. Either you tell the name of the king or what I am telling is correct. मैं हमारे हिंदी में एक कहावत बोलते हैं, या तो बाप दिखाओ नहीं तो श्राद्ध करो. Okay, either you tell me 3,500 years back who was ruling in Dwarka in the summer city. And if you don't have any other name, let anybody else tell me any name. As a scientist, I refuse to give any name. But then I draw a parallel from our tradition. Then I said, yes, it is a Krishna's Dwarka. Okay. Now another thing is there. Rama came all the way, whether he brought the army which attacked Sri Lanka from Ayodhya. I am asking you. So from where he got his soldiers? From where he got his soldiers? It means people were living in South India also that time. In Karnataka, the Rishamukh Parvat and all those things. Is it? Kishkinda, whatever you say. It means people were not only living in Gujarat. People were living in the rest of the country also. Then where are the evidence? If there are no reports, what reason you can think? Why there is no report of that time.
I'll add
There-
one more thing to it.
Sure.
I think a couple of years ago, there was an excavation in, I think, Shivganga district in Tamil Nadu, where they did a DNA dating.
Okay.
And the claim was that the oldest people in India were Dravidians. I don't know whether they were Dravidians or whatever. But if I remember right, the dates they were getting were beyond 10,000. If I remember rightly, my memory is not clear on it. So we do have evidence that India was populated.
Yes.
Now, where we stop with science and where we go
No, I'll tell
and
you.
join things, that is a bridge which is very difficult to.
Yes, I
pass.
agree with. See, there can be three reasons for not having report. Either they were not living. That is the first thing, which is very unlikely. If you believe that Ram Setu was built, if you believe that the offshore structure was there, the city 9.5 thousand years back. But the second option is they were having evidences, but it is completely destroyed. And the third is we have not yet discovered. I agree with you. And you know why it is so? If you remember few years back, all people in the medical field, they were doing research on the HIV. What happened to now? Now why no news is coming about HIV? Because all the same scientists who are doing it, they left their work halfway and they started working on coronavirus. Okay, it so happened that soon after the partition, the Rao started this lothal work, and one big discovery, then all over the those who are interested in it, they all went to the Gujarat, and they started doing what we call it as the incremental research. हमें शिकारपुर में भी एविडेंस मिल रहे हैं, हमें टाडरी में भी इंटरेस्ट मिल रहे हैं, हमें पाटन में भी मीन्स in the same area. If one village is there, nearby some other village will be there. So since one Lothal has been discovered, international fame, everybody started going to the new area, into the jungles and searching a new area. Who is having time to do that? So what is the need of the hour is to go do the hard field work like geologist. Okay, somewhere limestone has been discovered, then everybody will go start doing, I will do geochemistry, I will do micropaleontology, you do sedimentology. Okay, but nobody will go to the jungle and search for a new field. That's it. Okay, so problem is whatever the current field is there, people go and do research. Very few people now are interested to go and search in unknown areas. So that is the need of the hour. Any more question?
Sir,
Yes.
add a little. Sorry.
Yeah.
Setu is there.
Yeah.
You tell the age of that Ram Setu is 7,000 years.
Yeah.
Suppose we construct a dam
Yeah.
against to impound the water.
Yeah.
Due to the lateral thrust of water, even the concrete dam, that
Okay.
can be eroded. And the natural rocks are also just eroded like a wood logs.
Yeah.
How that rock has survived, those thrown rocks up to 7,000 years remain there.
Who says it is there?
Because Setu is seeing there. Yeah, I have seen in the photograph.
Sir, if you see both the sides, what he asked the question, it is sloping like this. It is a natural high. I told maybe a coral island is there. So whatever Rama's time or whoever, whether you, I am not going for the name as a geologist, but whoever has done this venture of crossing from India to Sri Lanka 7,000 years back, what evidences you are expecting? If some stones, some trees, some sand, something has been put to just cross over, that will be remain there. No, nothing will be there. Now water is there and the natural structure is there now. Okay, and who tried to see whether those stones are still there? Lot of diving is required. First thing, you have to do lot of geophysical survey, what is lying on the surface. Okay, if any evidence is there, then the diving is required. A lot more research is required. What we have done is a very tip of the small iceberg. A lot more, and I expect that all the volunteers today, some of them will definitely take up this type of research, which is need of the hour. Sure, sir. Yeah. Yes.
5,000 plus years back.
Thank you. You are answering to your brother. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. All over settlements were there. Only we have to look for their evidences. If no more question or if questions are around, I am here tomorrow.
Sir,
Yes.
yes, sir. Sir, need to give just few clarifications and
Sure.
one question.
Sure.
First of all, about your question that regarding DNA of near Tamil Nadu, 10,000 years. Sir, not that kind of result has been done. The oldest DNA sample has been tested in Rakhigarhi by Deccan College.
Yes.
It's around 3,000 Harappans. And about the habitation, 3,500 BC. And
You are referring the work by Vasant Shinde sahab.
yes, sir.
Okay, he's a good friend of mine, and he's a great archaeologist. Rakhigarhi, his work, and Rakhigarhi is going to be it's bigger than Harappa.
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay,
And
and this
another
is a very new work which he started. He started with earlier Korean people.
yes, sir.
Okay.
With
Now I will tell you. I know what. See, one more thing I will tell you. Till we come across the limitation of any technique, we consider as a gospel truth. That's what is happening with the DNA now. Both the sides, those who are telling we came from the Africa, that group is also very dominant. The second group will say no, everyone has started from India and they have gone from India to other places. Both are giving excellent evidences. I think we have to wait till they come to a general agreement. It's not our field.
and sir, about your date of that Ram Setu,
Yeah.
around 7,000 years old.
Yes.
Sir, that is Mesolithic in India. So 7,000 years old.
Yeah.
I am giving you reference of Lahura Deva in Uttar Pradesh.
Okay.
The oldest evidence of rice and Neolithic culture. Okay, so that is almost time period of Neolithic or Mesolithic culture in Indian subcontinent.
Okay.
So, are going giving you argument that Neolithic or Mesolithic people were building those kind of evidences?
First thing, I will apologize to you. Being a geologist, this terminology is not known to me. The Neolithic, Paleolithic, we the geologists, we talk in terms of how many thousand years back. Okay. Now, if you convert it, your argument into the timing, see, I don't own any claim on the timing given, because this is not our work. This is done by the people who work on the atmospheric sciences. Okay. If that date is correct, okay, if the date given by constellation through the planetarium software, but one thing I still agree, stand with my argument. 7,001 year back, it was possible to cross over from India to Sri Lanka by putting up a Setu Bandh, Rameshwaram. Now, age you debate. If it is not 7,000, then it was not possible to do it.
Okay, sir. My last question is, what are the cultural material associated with Dwarka other than a structure? Because you claimed 3,500 years.
This is, again I tell you, this 3,500 years, the date given by Dr. Asar Rao, who was an archaeologist. And being a geologist, for certain, like Lothal. This comes from you, the archaeologist. When you say it is 4,500 year or late Harappa, pre-Harappa, I ask Asar Rao, you tell me the time, he says 4,500 years. That's very fine, it is possible to have a dockyard there. Okay, so now 3,500, now this 3,500 year, now you see how well it is matching with this Sinoli excavation. The change, the change into the, you can say the psyche of the man. That those who are living at Lothal 4,500 years back, they were not the warriors. Okay, वो छोटे किसान लोग थे. एक किसान से एक सैनिक बनने की कहानी ये जो है ये लोथल से शुरू होके सिनौली होते हुए द्वारका पे आके कल्मिनेट होती है. थैंक यू. Okay.
We can take a last question.
No, you are not. You can come either little forward.
So I'll try to be as long as I can. Thank you, sir. Thank you for this mesmerizing talk. So before I ask my question to my young friends from Deccan College, if you are comparing Middle Ganga Valley variations, so where are the regional bracketed things that we are going to keep? In that case, how would you place the megaliths in Maharashtra? So let me ask the question, then I think in that case we can have a separate discussion about it. Sir, I just wanted to have a basic question, very conceptual one. So in 175 years of the history of Archaeological Survey of India, you have been talking very often about multi-collaborative efforts to understand the cultural sequence, the climate, and how far the cultures has been prospering and alienating in the different variations of time, scale, and geographical locations. So why do you think the Geological Survey of India, despite having such a rich corpus of the body of the work, Archaeological Survey of India or Anthropological Survey of India, such collaborative efforts has been divorced so far in terms of a multi-proxy approach to study a particular culture?
The two departments are two persons in the same department. That is the culture we have, we don't collaborate. In government, what one hand is doing, the other man don't know what is going on. This is what, had Asar Rao not came to NIO, where already a multidisciplinary research was going on, probably you archaeologists till today would have been debating whether Lothal was a dockyard or it was an irrigation tank. So I agree with you, whatever has been done, whatever happened is happened. This is the time, let us we all start sitting together. Okay, when we see what archaeologists could not conclude because they never knew that, geologists never knew there is any such problem in archaeology. And archaeologists never knew that Foraminifera can tell you whether it is a marine sediment or not, which was a one-day job. It took 40 years. Okay. So, I think the younger team, please don't inherit the bad qualities from the older people. Okay. We are very good in doing politics, how to kill any sort of collaboration. Okay. So, let us think for good, go to home with the proud that our civilization is one of the world's oldest civilization. We have the Lothal, we have the Dholavira, we have the Ram Setu. Be proud of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I think the main idea when he talked to me that what should I be speaking about, that time I was very clear that I wanted him to speak about, I wanted him to speak about our cultural heritage. Because all those who are doing their PhD may know that now in the PhD curriculum, they have started teaching you history of Indian science. They have started taking you back into the history of Indian science. Because when we stand in the international forum, we start comparing ourselves. And many times we think that the white-skinned people know much more than us. It is what our history books have taught us. But as long as we don't look at what we have in our literature scientifically, if it is there in our literature, everything has a science. And it's only, the main idea was that we need to understand the science behind what we have so that we relate to our past. As long as we don't relate and feel proudly about our past, we will not be able to survive as a nation. With that, I really thank Sir for giving us his time. And so maybe you can we can meet them off the stage. But thank you so much. निकलना चाहिए सबको